So I've been seeing an ongoing theory online that Ganondorf in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom could very well turn into the true version of himself, which was Demise brought back all the way from Skyward Sword, which I kind of agree with you. Demise was technically the first incarnation of Ganon, really. It's the first form that Ganon had ever taken, and in fact, actually, I guess you could also say so is the Imprison, which was the monstrous form that it took. But then we obviously seen Ganon throughout the timeline turn into this just pig monster creature as he was reincarnated. But what if I told you that in Tears of the Kingdom, we might see Ganondorf revert to his original form all the way back in Skyward Sword? Well, let's talk about it. It seems like Breath of the Wild set a precedent for the Zelda story and timeline, as if we were at the very end of the current timeline that we know and love, wrapping everything up before it into a neat bow. And Tears of the Kingdom looks like it might be doing the same thing, almost bringing the series to an end in some sort of way. Seeing Zelda regain her powers, but something magical is happening to her. You can just feel it. And it just feels like with this story in Tears of the Kingdom, they're really going deep with that concept of characters returning to their spiritual forms and the forms that they were in past games. And I think there's other characters in this game that might undergo massive changes, which we'll get into in a second, but Ganondorf was the first one that caught many people's eyes. Check this scene out real quick. Now this is Ganondorf looking out onto the Blood Moon. Now I'm really not sure what's going on in this scene, but as you can tell, this is not the same Ganondorf that we see a couple minutes later. Ganondorf has more of a human body and doesn't look this creepy whatsoever, but it looks like he's getting powered up by the malice around him, and also the Blood Moon giving him more power, which is also changing his physical appearance. And notice how the camera doesn't show us his face in this scene. It keeps it hidden, it shows us his face in another scene where he doesn't look like this. I mean, look at his hair and his body. He's not glowing with this red tint and malice everywhere, and his hair is definitely not spewing like that. Well, look around him for a second. The area that he's standing at seems to be the exact same area where we see his hair glow that reddish orange. Maybe that scene is right before we see his change. Maybe we actually fight Ganondorf throughout the game just like Gyrahim, and then later on he changes and grows and evolves into something monstrous, something along the lines of Demise. What if it's not even like him referencing Demise? What if it's actually him turning into Demise, the original incarnation of Ganon, which would be super cool, of course, but there's even more evidence to point towards this. I mean, just look at his body as well through the hair. Now, it's hard to see, but you can tell on his arms and on his back a little bit, there are new markings and carvings with glowing spots as well. It looks rigid and bumpy, almost like he's growing scales on his skin. Almost looks like the same exact markings that Demise had all over his arms and body as well, which could mean that he is turning back into his true ultimate form from the very beginning of time. Now remember, Ganondorf isn't Ganon. He uses Ganon's power, but Ganondorf was actually born as a Gerudo in the Gerudo Desert. He's just a regular man with evil intention. So maybe this is the scene of him actually fusing with Ganon and turning back into what Ganondorf used to be, or what Ganon used to be. Of course, there still is a chance that this is just a power-up Ganondorf that uses the same technology and malice power that the Blight Ganons did, but their hair never glue like this, and even Calamity Ganon at the end didn't necessarily have hair that looked like this, even though it did glow when he was in danger. Something completely different seems to be happening to Ganondorf, and I think it's the result of the Tears of the Kingdom. No, not the title, but the actual Tears of the Kingdom. Thanks to the past trailers, we knew that there were going to be 7 tears, and that we would probably have to collect these in this game. And so far, I believe we've seen 5 of them. Zelda shares one with this other mysterious girl that has a yellow one. Ganondorf actually has a red one on his forehead. Riju has a orange one on her earring. Sidon has a blue one on the back of his hand, and Tulin has a green one on the side of his hip or on his bow. I'm a firm believer that all of these tears have some magic power. All these tears have the ability to do something to their wielders, maybe giving them some type of special magic power that converts them to their true selves or their true forms. And it happens with another character, I believe, in this trailer. To me, without a doubt, Zelda is the most mysterious because we keep seeing her in scenes with the other woman back to back. And I've said it before in my past video, I think these are the same characters. This is Zelda. Yes, she is probably Zelda, just evolved somehow, which might be bringing her closer to the form of the goddess. They have these same exact necklaces, arm bracelets, even headpieces, earrings, even the little white teardrop paintings below her eyes. She just gains more. It seems like maybe she's evolving and changing throughout this game, and maybe she's turning into her true form, the goddess Hylia, which is ultimately what she's been trying to do, is to gain her true power, which is that she's the goddess, just reincarnated. You can literally see her use her golden beam power where she takes out an army of Molduga, and we know no other character has this ability and this golden glowing light like Zelda does. Just like in the same vein where Zelda is finally returning to her true form, the goddess, all the way since Skyward Sword, in the same vein, Ganondorf seems to be turning into his true form, or technically Ganon's true form, in the form of Demise since Skyward Sword. And in both situations, it seems like it's the power of the tier that glows when they're using their powers. Of course, there's other stuff that I want to talk about with these tiers. I think they're very important in their roles, and I'll probably be making a separate video on that alone. But if that's the case, there are 5 of these tiers. Where are the other 2? Well, I think one is obviously going to go to Yunobo. There's even a scene where we can see his boulder smasher, so he's definitely going to be in here. But that leaves one left, which I believe is going to go to Link, which is going to ultimately power Link up to the ultimate version that Link can reach, which I don't think we've ever seen an ultimate version of Link. We know that Zelda is supposed to be the powerful goddess Hylia. We know Ganon is already a powerful entity from the past, but what is Link? Can Link actually become something incredibly powerful as well? Do their Triforce pieces have something to do with this power combined with the tier? Well, it's impossible to say right now. I mean, we've only ever seen Link one time reach an ultimate form, and that was in Majora's Mask, where he got the Fierce Deity Mask, which actually turned his whole physical appearance into this adult powerhouse with a massive sword, which was pretty awesome, and you just felt amazingly powerful. Where I feel like most of the Zelda games, Link is just a guy with a really powerful sword. So I would love for him to also have an ultimate version in this game at the very end when he fights the ultimate version of Ganondorf. So yes, there is a chance that Ganondorf is actually going to be able to turn into a form of Demise from our past, which would be so awesome. It's like they're wrapping this entire series up from all the games and finally concluding a story that we have been completing for so long now, which is awesome. But let me know in the comments down below what you think of this theory, and do you actually think this could be Demise in this scene? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Nintendo in general. And I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.